This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hey, everybody. Before we get started, we have a word from a sponsor.
We got a sponsor. Hey.
All right. First of all, did y'all know it's Father's Day this weekend?
Oh, snap. I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready, were you?
I was not ready, but it is. It's Father's Day.
Typical man, wait until the last minute. Well, guess what? We got you covered. Harry's razors.
Uh-oh. Harry's
Now,
razors.
First of all, razors every man needs. Even you, babyface James.
Hey, what you mean I need a razor?
Hey, man.
I need Harry's?
You need Harry's, dude, because first of all, let me tell you something. If you shave your face with one of those cheap razors you buy at the drugstore,
Yeah.
it gets all scratched up, don't it?
Yeah, and my girlfriend's always like, why does your face feel like that?
She said, why is your face so bumpy?
Yes, she does that all the time.
Oh, no. That's a real thing.
This is a real thing.
But, man, let me tell you right now, Harry's gave us a sample set.
Uh-oh.
Their handles, dude, they feel like, I feel like I'm a king.
Yo, that
I'm like, oh,
handle,
this is rich, son.
that handle, though, it just, the way it, like, fits in the contour of your hand, though.
Mm-hmm.
The contour, though.
Matty black razor handle, dude. Listen, here's what you can get. Limited edition Father's Day shave set includes a matty black razor handle, a chrome razor stand, Harry's moisturizing foam shave gel, 3 of Harry's hand-crafted blade cartridges, and a travel cover.
Wait, how much is it?
$40.
$40?
Dude, that's it.
Oh, man.
You get the closest shave of your life, man. I shaved that thing, and I was just like, whoo. Man, my skin felt so smooth, I got turned on.
But wait, we're saying that, like, Father's Day is coming up. We should probably do these as gifts for Father's Day, right?
You should definitely do it at Gifts for Father's Day. But honestly, even if you're listening and Father's Day has already passed or you already bought a gift, get it. Because you can give this to anybody. You can give it to yourself.
Oh, snap.
And it is totally worth it. I'm telling you right now. What you got to do, go to harrys.com right now, redeem a special offer code, all right, for fans of our show. Harry's will give you $5 off with your first purchase with the promo code JUMP.
Yeah.
JUMP, JUMP. All right? You get $5 off your first purchase, man.
Man, I can't wait for that. I can't wait to save that $5.
And listen, go to harrys.com. There's other great stuff there. Just all your razor needs, man. And like I said, you got to keep that baby face smooth.
Yeah.
Or even if you're trimming up your beard, you know what I mean? You growing out your hair, you know what I mean? You got to keep it in check. You got to do it in style. Harry's, HARRYS.com.
Yeah. Remember that promo code is JUMP, JUMP.
That's right. Save money for you, and you also help us out.
Yeah.
You'll help us out just like a razor from Harry's.
Yeah. Helping out our faces.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what do you mean? To say,
Except that's what my girlfriend says when she sees me after I shave with Harry's razors. We out. Let's start the show.
The champ is hit. The champ is hit. The champ is hit. Yeah.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Rumble, young man. Really not? What are you going to do?
No,
I thought you was doing it.
I was
Yeah, he says the one part, and then everybody chime in.
I thought you was doing it.
I thought
No,
you
he
wanted to
chimed in on the second part.
My fault.
Wait, which part?
Rumble, yup. Nah, okay,
can't.
James ain't on it.
I already said before we started. I don't
All right,
remember
I'll start again.
Okay.
Your hand can't hit what your eye can't see. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble.
I wasn't ready.
Do you even? We told you we were just about to do
I wasn't
it.
ready for it. I'm sorry.
We literally just said we were going to do it.
How are you already less than a minute in going to disgrace the legacy.
I know.
What do you mean?
Muhammad Ali.
I'm not going to disgrace Muhammad Ali.
This is a reminder that James is not a human.
What? No,
In case
no.
you forgot.
I'm not going to stand for
If
this
you didn't
today.
listen to-
I'm not going to stand
If
for
you
this
didn't listen
today.
to Purple Rain,
I would not. No,
we edited
no,
that
I will
James
not.
is not a
I
human.
refuse. I'm not even. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking until you're done with your thesis.
You're not a human.
I'm going to keep talking until you're done with the thesis.
You're not a
Keep
human.
talking with the thesis.
Not a human.
I'm going to keep talking with the thesis.
All right, this isn't fun for anybody.
Still not a human.
Oh wait,
Oh,
do,
okay.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
gotta say what-
do we have anything to say in this cold open?
Oh, is this the cold open?
Is this a cold open?
I guess
we
so,
started
right?
it. I mean, we're in it.
What do I want to say? Do y'all remember when y'all first saw this movie? Because we all saw it in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like this might be a good point to talk about, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, I guess we could.
Oh, like when we first recognized Muhammad
Yeah,
Ali.
like I never was a kid with like posters, but the one poster I did have was like Muhammad Ali when he was when he knocked out, was it Sonny Liston? That famous photo of like
Yeah.
him over top of him. I don't know, man. I like that dude.
that was the second time. Or was that when he knocked out?
That was
It was the second time he fought Sonny. Did he fight Sonny Liston twice? Mm-hmm. It was the second time when he won.
Yeah. Well, he won.
He won both.
both. He won both.
He won both times. But
I think the
The rematch when he knocked him out in the first round.
yeah,
Okay, it was the rematch fight.
yeah.
yeah.
And then, but do you know that some people think that Sonny Liston threw that fight?
The second one?
Yeah,
Why?
because they think he had like some gambling trouble or something.
What? I mean, he got knocked out super quick. Not saying Muhammad Ali didn't knock him out, but he
mean,
knocked
yeah.
him out super quick.
That arm though.
I mean, he
know what I'm
flexed.
saying?
Well, he literally flexed on him when he knocked him out, and he flexed.
The arm.
I was like, whoa, brother. You rumbling, young man. You get what I did there?
Yeah. What is happening?
That's not what I did. Don't chat. We wanted you to be on our
I
side.
was trying to build on it before.
You didn't build on anything we did.
I wasn't
No.
ready. I wasn't ready.
You're embarrassing me. I don't like this.
I'm the greatest. How's that?
That was really good.
Oh yeah,
That was really good.
Really?
Yeah, that was really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Your wife hit me this. Like, no, I got nothing.
That was good too.
I mean, I don't know. I forgot what his saying was about.
I don't think this was in the movie, but I feel like it was in the trailer where he's like out and he's out on the street and there's a little kid and he's like, hold up your hand. He goes, I can hit your
yeah,
I can hit your hand in six times before you even blink.
Did I
and then
hurt
the
you?
kid goes
Yeah.
and he blinks and then he goes, did it hurt you?
Dude, that's so good.
I
That's so good.
remember waiting for that. in
Yeah,
the
it never
movie, and
comes.
It never happened.
Yeah, somehow it got edited out.
Yep. Oh, but also, if you, yeah.
Oh no!
Wait, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
No, I was
Oh,
like,
no.
clearly from, we're probably going to say once we start the show, but as everyone knows, like, we're doing this episode because Muhammad Ali passed away,
That's true.
So we're doing this to honor Muhammad Ali.
53 wins, I believe. 5 losses.
Yeah.
37 knockouts.
74
was-
years old.
Well, it was on him.
He was 74.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Parkinson's disease.
It's crazy to me. His like the wins to losses ratio. It's just like insane.
Well, he
It's
just
so
kept
massive.
fighting. Like, he kept
It's so massive.
Yeah, he fought, and that's with 3.5 years of his prime taken out too.
Yeah.
fighting. Yeah.
Crazy. All right, we can start the show.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can't jump. Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hollywood City.
For this one, I'm gonna go ding 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 because it's like the
Yeah, that's
I'm
appropriate.
okay with that.
it's like the sound. It's the ring.
Ali.
Why?
Boombaye. Ali. Boombaye. James.
You just explain the sound of,
Yeah, just like in case.
yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah, we got it. It was a ring bell.
It's like ding ding ding. It's the
and
sound that it
then,
makes.
but Gerard didn't even listen to that. He just started singing Ali.
Ali. Boombaye.
What does that mean, Gerard?
Ali, you're the greatest. Right?
Does that mean kill him?
What?
Didn't they say it? They're saying like Ali. Don't they say it in the movie?
I feel like they do.
Isn't that what it is? They say like
That means Ali kill him?
right, like but like like knock him out,
Yeah,
right? That's what
knock
I
him
thought. I heard. Did I not hear that correctly?
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
I'm Jonathan Braylock.
I'm James the Third.
I'm Jerah Milligan, and I'm confused.
And tonight, good Lord, why do I always do that?
Tonight.
We're reviewing the film Ali, 2001, starring Will Smith. What are you surprised about?
It is. It says Ali, kill him.
Yeah, no, we confirmed that.
Well, I wanted to double check for the people. For the people at home.
So, okay. This film came out in 2001. You might remember it, or you might not, because apparently nobody saw this movie.
Yeah, it did not make its budget.
Not everybody saw it.
I mean, I saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters.
I mean, because it starred Will Smith, so we had to.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the first rated R movies I saw, because I definitely saw it with my parents.
Oh, yeah. I
had
saw this with my parents, too.
Mm-hmm.
I just mean it's one of the first rated R movies I saw in theaters, is what I meant to say.
Right. I mean, because the budget was like $107 million.
107 mil. The 20 million of that was Will Smith.
Yeah, and it made $85 million in theaters.
It made, I think, 85 worldwide.
Worldwide, that's how much it made.
Yeah, domestically it only made 58 million.
Whoa, no!
So it lost like a lot of money. So and then 107 million doesn't include advertising.
Right.
And it also didn't do well DVD sales.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I bought it.
I did too, actually, but like much later.
wow! I didn't know that.
Like much later when it was like $5.
Well, I did not know that, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
But
It's a shame it didn't do well.
That being said, it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will Smith, first ever Academy Award nomination for Will Smith. Hopefully not.
It won't be his last. He's had 2.
It hasn't been his last, but he still hasn't won. I feel like it. No, Pursuit of Happiness is probably the closest for him.
Yeah, I thought he was going.
Yeah,
to,
I
that
was
when
fingers
he's
crossed.
up.
But
He's
man,
up in tough years though.
man.
He's up when people like
We'll
are
talk about
killing
this.
it.
But I think he could have won if this was a great movie. All right, then
Yes.
we had then we had
John.
John Voight
Yeah,
Oh, John Voight was also. Did he? He didn't
supporting,
win.
and he also did not
Yes,
win
he
for
did.
playing Howard Cosell. And he was. I thought he was really great as well.
he was. I mean, I thought
man.
the acting
And the
was
acting was
good. I thought
great.
the acting was really good.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx. You had Jada Pinkett Smith, and this was the first time they were on screen together.
I mean, I loved, honestly, just to talk about Jamie, because I know I go at Jamie a lot. I love these kind of characters for Jamie, when like Jamie's like playing a real life person where he can kind of like embody them. I feel like he does so. I like that.
When I saw this movie in the theaters, and it's the scene where he's like, "Put me back," the first time, you know, when he when Ali goes to him and he's like all strung out.
Oh, yeah,
you know? I was watching that and I was like, mark my words, Jamie Foxx is going to win an Oscar one day.
Totally.
When I saw that,
I mean,
scene.
I have to
that
be
was
honest. I like John Voight a lot in this movie. I thought he was great. I think Jamie Foxx's performance was better than John Voight's.
By
Yeah.
far. I thought he was great. I also think Mario Van Peebles, who played Malcolm X, he was
Very
so
good.
captivating that I was
Yeah.
like, this is no offense to Will. I thought Will did great, but I was like, I want to watch that movie.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I want to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like Denzel Washington played Malcolm X great, but he still was like Denzel Washington. Whereas first of all, Mario Van Peebles looks a lot like Malcolm X. Like,
yeah.
he really has the look down.
Yeah.
And then he was great. He like had like this because he was playing Malcolm X in his later years.
Yeah.
When he started to chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he had this like a strength, like this inner strength that you recognize with Malcolm X, but then also like this kindness that you don't often see.
He played him like he was vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's so interesting because like even when you talk about like not to get hung up on Denzel, because of course we all know Denzel did great, but it's like Mario played him like he was confused, because this is the point of his life when like people always say, oh, he made white friends and realized that like white people weren't evil. He's like, oh yeah. The way to do things is this, not with actual violence anymore.
Right.
Right. He got deeper into the actual Islamic religion. And then what's his name? What's my man's name? Giancarlo.
Oh, you mean Gus?
How do you
Giancarlo.
Is it Giancarlo?
No, it's Juan Carlo. It's Juan Carlo Esposito. We always go back and forth.
Well, it's
between
with the
but it's
G.
Juan Carlo, right?
Yeah,
it's Juan Carlo Esposito. Who kills it as Cassius Sr.
Yeah, and then you also have
was it Marvin Gaye's daughter's in this movie, who plays the main wife that we see.
the first wife? Oh no, sorry, the second wife.
The second wife.
Right, the first wife is Jada Pinkett
Jada.
Smith.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because like she has a really good role in this movie, but it's it's funny because at one part we were talking about it. But it's kind of creepy because when he comes to meet her, she's like, "I met you when you came to my school." And and like she's been the champ for
really
years.
weird.
But like,
No, I get it. That's
Like
what
he was a
used to
champ
do.
when he was like 22. Anyway, okay, so let's.
she was 12, right? I
Yeah.
mean, right?
Yeah, like it was a middle
I know.
school or
She was
something.
So it's not like crazy. I think she was 11. It's not like crazy.
11.
crazy.
Yeah, she was 11.
It's like, yeah, that's, but anyway. So the film came out 2001. We said that came out Christmas time. The reviews are like good. They're like solid. You know what I mean? But it's like also like, it's one of those films that I guess people were like, oh, this is Oscar bait. And it's not actually as good as it is.
Yeah.
Michael Mann directed it. And Michael Mann, at this point, had directed Heat.
Which is one of the greatest crime heist movies of all time.
Right. And then he also directed The Insider 2 years
Did
earlier
he?
with Russell Crowe. And that movie was nominated for a bunch of awards, and he was
Yeah.
nominated for Best Director. He
Yeah.
didn't win.
His
Actually,
was
that movie
good.
didn't win much, but it was nominated for a lot. It was like that string of like Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe won this year, I think, actually.
Yeah, he won for Gladiator.
He won for Gladiator earlier in the year, but he won again for A Beautiful Mind. He was like nominated for.
Wait, he won back to back
This was
Oscars?
Beautiful Mind.
He won back-to-back Oscars. He was nominated for the Best Actor 3 years in a row. The Insider, Gladiator, and then A Beautiful Mind.
Wow.
Right. It was a weird year. A weird string of years. Also, Jamie Foxx was killing it around this time, I realized.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so what else do we have to say? Oh, so the movie, the synopsis of the movie,
Please
for
tell
those
me
of
what
you
that
who haven't seen it, but are familiar with Ali's life. Basically, this film starts off like the first fight you see is his first heavyweight championship bout versus Sonny Liston, and honestly, the movie just literally jumps in with nothing. Like it just like it's like all right, we're 80 feet in the water, jump in now. Like there's no lead up. It's just like it's this kind of cool when you first watch it because you're like, oh, it's like easing you in with this music and it's like kind of like training montage, and you're like, great, we're just gonna skip ahead to the good stuff, I guess. But then as the movie progressed for me, I guess anyway. Sorry.
Do it. No, do it.
Yeah,
do it.
First impressions, like as the movie progressed for me, I was like, oh wait, no, actually that beginning wasn't good because what he does in the beginning, he keeps doing throughout the movie, which is like not develop any person, pretty much assumes that you know everything about Ali's life,
Which is,
and like and about this time period, and it's like the best way I can explain it is when I was rewatching, because when I first saw this movie, I liked it, and I think it was because I hadn't seen the documentaries. Like there are apparently 2 really great documentaries about Muhammad Ali. One that came out in like 96 or 95, I want to say, but I never saw them. So like this was me seeing the legend of Muhammad Ali on screen with Will Smith, who I loved, and so I think all of that, you know what I mean, combined, and I think we were starving for that story. So like I was like, yeah, I thought it was great, and I saw it a couple times after, and I liked it. I remember people not thinking it wasn't that great, and I was like, why do people think that?
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it, and I was like, I feel like he made this movie by like taking the greatest photos of Muhammad Ali. If somebody was like, here are the 50 greatest photos of Muhammad Ali, and he was like, great, let's like just film these scenes.
Yeah.
And then people were like, well, shouldn't we like tell like a narrative story throughout this? And he was like, no. Let's just take the snapshots of his greatest moments in life, and we'll just drop it in
together. Yeah.
they'll get it.
Yeah, and basically, the movie spans from that point of his life until through 2 of his marriages, until the George Foreman fight,
Rumble in the Jungle.
the Rumble in the Jungle, and it ends literally at the end of that fight is the end of the movie. So that spans about 10 years, I think.
That's so random.
So it skips out about the first 18 fights of Ali's career, and then like he actually had a bunch of fights at the end of his career too. After he beat Foreman, he defended the title a bunch of times after that, lost it, got it back again, then lost it again. He like retired. When he got it back, he retired, and then he in
Only
like
for a few
79,
months. Only for like a few months.
Then like he needed money, and then he got back in it again and he lost and he got beat up. Anyway, so yeah, why don't you guys do?
You go next, James.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about. I think that I like the description of like pictures, like the best pictures and putting together, because I definitely do feel that. But it does, to me, why I still enjoyed myself watching it the second time. I definitely felt like, oh, this just feels like things happening as opposed to like a story being told. It feels like there's like a lot of love for the subject matter.
Definitely.
And because of that, and because of the heart that I feel went into that, I still had a good time. Like went on like a nice journey. But definitely like I definitely do agree that like I feel like the movie itself is like, oh, this happened and then this happened and then this happened, which is also part of the product of like telling a 10-year story, right? In a span of 2.5 hours, right? Like why cram and we.
But no,
we,
you can.
You can do
you
that.
You can totally do it and do it in a way that's great.
But I haven't seen Walk the Line in a long time.
What about like what's love got to do with it?
Yeah, you could do it. Malcolm X was
but my thing about that too is like I think it's hard to do well. I think that like when it's done well, those movies stand out. Mm-hmm. But I think that like telling a 10-year story is just like it's like you got to really sure, you got to like really make sure you are like
okay, continue
doing the work. Yeah. But anyway, those are my thoughts.
I feel some kinds of ways about this one. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say this statement, and I have white friends, and I like white people.
Oh, so what?
Nick, producer Nick, I don't want you to go.
This is taking a turn I didn't expect.
Always with these. The preamble makes.
By the way, I like white people. By the way,
I just want to make sure. I feel like this movie. Like when I was watching this movie, and the first thing I did is I was like, "Who wrote this?" Like that's my first thought. Like, who wrote this movie? Because I saw it and I was like, a black person didn't write this movie. And the reason I thought that is because, like Braylock kind of said, this movie, it was like the images. It was like none of the... Muhammad Ali was unapologetically black. Like he loved being black. He was like the most charismatic sports athlete, probably still considered of the time. And you had Will Smith, one of the most charismatic actors of the time in this movie. This movie had no electricity. It had no heart. It had no, like, this movie literally had nothing that represented Muhammad Ali. And it's so interesting. It was like, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, we're just touching on stuff. But like Braylock said, I feel like I still honestly didn't learn what made Muhammad Ali. When we start the movie, he is already in the Nation of Islam. We got to realize that, like, he didn't start doing that until the Olympics. So, like, what made him want to do that? Was it because he went overseas and got treated a certain way? Like, I still don't know. Like, why was he there? Why did he trust, like, why did he want to change his name so bad? Like, he never even said it. I know he said, like, oh, that was my slave name, but I wanted to, like, him and his dad just let it go. Like, his dad got mad and just stood outside. If I try to change my name, my parents are going to want to know and, like, put up a fight or just say, like, why? They want to have a real discussion. Like, his dad just, like, my name isn't good enough for you? The name put food on the table, and that was it.
It was like...
That was it.
It's so weird because... if you take individual scenes from the movie, they feel powerful, and I think it's because the acting is so off the charts good. Like,
I think this.
That scene that you're talking about, I remember thinking, wow, like Juan Carlos Esposito in literally like what 5 lines, less, is like making me feel so much for his character that literally has not been explored at all and like will not be explored throughout the movie. He's just there at certain times. You don't understand the dynamic between Ali and his father outside of the acting moments. The script like does zero to help them. But like I remember like that moment I was like, that was so great. And then when it ended, I was like, I want more of that scene. Like so many scenes felt too short. It's so weird because this movie was like so many scenes felt too short, yet the movie itself felt so long.
Yeah.
And I couldn't explain it. I was like, none of the scenes felt, actually, there were some scenes where I was like, all right,
let's
go.
But that's also just because, like, there's a lot of visuals. Like there's a lot of times where
Way
it's just
too much.
like, and now we're gonna slow down.
But even the boxing wasn't that great to me. Like the boxing itself was like done so. First off,
I think it's hard. I think the only reason we think the boxing wasn't that great though is because Creed stepped it up in such a huge way.
Actually, it wasn't. It's so funny you bring up Creed because I wasn't even thinking about the way Creed did it.
I was the whole time.
Oh, was you?
I'm
going to talk about another. I'm talking about like I think about like Rocky 1 and Rocky 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas like those, again, I'm talking about the energy.
Yeah.
Like the energy. Like Muhammad Ali was the guy who used to talk trash in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, and they even tried to do that in the movie, but the movie was so slow. It was so clunky, and it's
it was
like
also like.
it was soft. It was.
I don't
like-
know about you guys, but like, wasn't it soft? Like, weren't there like a lot of moments where he was talking and he'd be like, yeah, man, say my name. And I'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I'd be like, why are they having him
Bruh,
whisper this?
My TV was on. No, it was. My TV was all the way up, and I still could barely.
I was
hear it.
literally, but it's so funny because I was watching this movie. I kept turning the volume all the way up and then having to turn it back down because there was like, and I was like, is this my TV or the?
I thought the same.
I was like, because like dude, the sound editing on this is awful.
Wait, you know
It
what,
is
Michael
awful.
Mann? Let me do a shout out to Michael Mann real quick.
Wait, time out.
No. Don't try to stop.
But this sounds like it's
Michael
not
Mann's
going to be
a
a
great
shout out.
director.
Like it sounds like you're not going to say something good.
I like Michael Mann. I praise him on Collateral.
Yeah.
But Michael Mann had me in my house thinking my TV was broke. Braylock in here turning up and down the volume, so he thought his TV was broke. How do we know?
My TV was fine. I was like, I just thought he was whispering, which I thought was weird.
How do
but
we know, James? This is the point I'm trying to
I
make.
didn't think anything was wrong with my TV.
How do we
though.
know that some little kid isn't at home popping in an Ali DVD?
That's not happening. No little kid.
Popping in an Ali DVD, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm trying to learn." They already feel bad about themselves, but they're trying to watch Ali to feel inspired. Now they at home. Not only they feel crappy, but they think the TV broke.
Okay, all right.
They can't get another TV. And it's all because of Michael Mann and his damn sound mixer.
All right. Well, three of us recently watched it, and two of us thought that their TV was broken. So I can't say that that's not impossible. So I can't say that's not impossible. Michael Mann, you should have thought about the kids and their television.
God, think about the kids.
You should have thought about the kids and their television.
All right, let's just start off because like the first scene of this movie is like what the flip was it? It was a concert.
Yeah. What I liked about the beginning of the
Did you
movie,
like it? All right.
because it was
Like I said, I thought I liked it until the movie kept going, and I was like, I don't like it anymore.
I couldn't remember what it was about or what was happening. Like I was watching again, I was like, wait, what? But as I was watching, I was like, what's cool about it is like he's working while everybody's out having fun, which I know may not necessarily be part of the storytelling that they were even trying to do for that moment.
Maybe it was. That's a good interpretation of it.
what
I
about
didn't
this?
catch that.
Speaking on the beginning of the movie, like one of the first dialogue scenes is the one with Malcolm X, and I'm like, I'm so confused at what this movie was trying to build. Like, yes,
They had a friend. They
had a strong friendship.
strong
Like, you know,
friendship.
he was Cassius X at one point. So like, it was a super strong friendship, but I felt like we had no real backstory to that friendship, and also
Right.
it was
We
like,
didn't. It jumped immediately into it.
yeah, and I was like, but also I was confused on like I get that they had like a falling out, which was a conversation at one point later in the movie, but it felt so unjust to see like Malcolm X in his home life without really going into like why he was being ousted by the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
Because it was a very big deal.
Yeah, I felt that too. I was like, I liked that because Malcolm X is a part of this story. I liked that they chose to tell it, but it was like, but especially the scene where like he's at home and his wife said, what does she say? She says
So we'll make it.
yeah,
through.
she's like we'll be all right. We'll be able to make it through. Like in that scene, I was just kind of like, wait.
Yeah, just so for people who haven't seen this, because it's going to sound so. It's almost going to sound like there were a lot of scenes with Malcolm X. There actually weren't.
Right.
There were very few scenes, and like literally, the movie starts off with like, is the first time you see Malcolm X in the crowd watching him.
Yeah, like he's in the crowd and then he talks to him afterwards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's like in the crowd, and so they have the Sonny before the Sonny Liston fight. It's like this long montage of you know
It's a
Muhammad
slow
Ali,
montage.
long slow montage,
Slow-tage.
of him like getting ready, and then like intercut between that, Jamie Foxx's character is literally intercut. Like the music of the montage is playing, and you see Jamie Foxx's character like over the music, like just literally just approach Cassius Clay and says like, I want to be your trainer, and like Cassius Clay like looks up at him. That's it. That's that scene, and we're supposed to know. Boom, that's his trainer. And
whoa. Hold on.
Training.
Just to clarify what John said, just so people know how we started this podcast, I saw Jonathan on the street. He was talking to James, and I was like, hey, we should be friends. And that was it. They looked up. So you know what? This movie is very accurate. That's
literally okay. So and then like intercut between that, like something. I feel like something else happens, and then like the first time we hear Muhammad Ali speak, like Cassius Clay speak, is like after this whole long thing where like they introduce a couple of characters again by just like brief like one line things. Then you see him like, you know, about at the weigh-in starts to run his mouth, right? And we're like, great, there it is. That's Ali. Now we're getting into the movie. But then as the movie progresses, it continues to have the same feel as that montage where it literally like a scene will happen. Like they'll have that scene. It's long. He's like talking to Sonny Liston, and Sonny Liston like yells like, "I'm gonna F you up." Everything kind of gets quiet, and Ali like kind of looks at him quietly, and you're like, "Oh snap! Did Sonny Liston just shut him up?" No. Then we have the fight. Ali knocks him out. He gets whatever. He looks over. He sees like Malcolm X, and then it literally just cuts to a scene of like him and Malcolm X like walking down a sidewalk, and he's like, and then all of a sudden like he's like with kids, and then cuts to like he's with a reporter, and the reporter's like, so Cassius, and he's like, that's not my name anymore. It's Cassius X. That's my slave. Clay is my slave name. And then it just cuts to the scene.
What's crazy about that
too? That he's talking about where his dad's like, you're changing your name? And then it just cuts to another scene and you're just like, what? The movie moves so quickly and yet so slowly at the same time.
Yeah.
It's literally disorienting.
You know what this movie is like?
It's like getting knocked out by Muhammad Ali.
Oh, no. I'm cool. No, I'm cool with that because that means something happened.
I mean, it's like a concussion.
Okay.
Like,
this movie is like when you go on a date, right? This goes for both people. You're at first base. You're at first base. You're making out. You're having a good time.
First base,
and then somebody just gets up and walks out. They don't tell you why they leaving. They leave you with the check. You haven't had dessert yet. They just leave. You never hear from them again. Then they come back the next day. You're like, oh, this is gonna be great. We figured it out. You kiss again. They get up, walk out one more time. Every time something was starting in this movie, it just never was addressed.
And would move on, like, and now nobody would talk about it. And like, also, you have to understand, like, months and years are passing by. There's no title cards. There's nothing. There's literally nothing to tell you other than like So there's an idea in the film universe like show don't tell.
Yep.
But I was watching this movie and I was like, you know what, Michael Mann, you got to tell a little bit.
Because it's such a decade.
You know what?
Decade.
Yeah.
You know what? You got to tell a little bit because you can't just show me because I have no idea what's going on.
But also, there were so many things that we just didn't like. I felt like I didn't learn. Like again, his relationship with the Nation of Islam. I don't know why it was so deep.
We don't. So literally, it's like you cut to he's like, I'm changing my name, and then you see the scene, and then like he's meeting with. But you don't even see a scene with him meeting
he meets Elijah Muhammad once when Elijah Muhammad, which is another.
But you don't see it first,
scene.
right? It's first with Herbert.
What happens? Yeah, his scenes are first with Herbert, but then like the scene with Malcolm X, like Nation of Islam calls him and I guess tells him he's ousted like permanently. The very next.
This is very early in the movie.
This is very early on. Then the very next scene is Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, coming in to meet. No, it's Elijah Muhammad.
Wait, before we move on. Do you guys know why Malcolm X was ousted?
Well, because it's rumors just because he's the preachings he started doing after a while is he started being more open to like Martin Luther King's way of thinking of like there are other ways to do it. I mean,
now
the reason that they say in the movie is like
did they say why?
Yeah, they say like it's kind of the same thing that they say about Ali, which is just kind of like, oh, he's getting too big. He's getting too.
Wait, are you saying the freaking FBI says that? Because there's also, by the way, there's also intercut scenes with FBI agents who are never introduced. You never understand who they are, who they're working with. They literally just will cut to scenes of them, either white people by themselves talking about this or talking to one of the people who are in the Nation of Islam, who's like clearly a higher up person, but you don't understand if he's like betraying the whole Nation of Islam, or if he's just doing it by himself,
right?
Or if he's an informant, or if he really believes in the Nation of Islam and the FBI are just in cahoots. Like, you have no. And here's the thing, I understand maybe none of this is like factual, but you're in a movie land now. Make a damn choice.
Yeah.
Like, make a choice. Because I'm watching this. I'm like, who are these people? Why are they doing this? What's happening?
Right. Also, like, obviously a choice is already being made because they put that they chose to put it in the movie. So it's like now why is this in the movie? What's the reason?
Can I ask you guys a question? Like, this is probably the most fundamental question. Did you guys feel like you learned much about Muhammad Ali while watching this movie?
So, okay, here's the thing that I will say though. And we can talk about Will Smith for a little bit, because I thought Will Smith was really, really good in this.
I do too.
And there were moments when they did like finally let the only scenes that they really let breathe were like between him and Howard Cosell, and then like every now and then when they were like really just like taking full quotes of Muhammad Ali and giving it to Will Smith to say, and I thought Will Smith would kill it. Like, is it too early to cut to the?
No, man. Let's.
Yeah,
this movie's like 2 hours and
I mean, like,
minutes.
because honestly, it moves. It's just like boom. Malcolm X is out of the Nation of Islam. He tells Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is just like, you can fix that, man. Like, don't worry about it. And then, and he's like, okay, but he's like, you can't come with me to Africa. They said that, and Muhammad Ali doesn't say anything. Literally, we just cut to Muhammad Ali going to Africa, and after they give him the name Muhammad Ali, he meets them. He's like, you are now instead of Cassius X, you are Muhammad Ali, and he's like, thank you. And then he's in Africa. Why? I don't.
We don't know. We don't know because we were just told that he's not allowed to.
He's not allowed to go to Africa with Malcolm X.
So like,
but
why
now
is
he's there, and then he sees Malcolm X, and we're supposed to think like they just saw each other randomly on the streets of in Africa. I actually didn't even know what country they were in. Were they in Ghana at that time or Nigeria?
I don't know where they were.
I know
Malcolm X was originally going to Nigeria, but when he starts talking to Malcolm X is like, "Oh yeah, you got to go to Algeria." He literally starts telling him countries that he has to go.
But then also, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, like so. Okay, talk about the scene. So they're having like this moment where they're catching up, but then somehow in the middle of the scene, Muhammad Ali is like, you should have never crossed Elijah Muhammad.
So he hears it in his mind, which they do periodically throughout the film, but not often enough at all to make it like a thing.
Oh, talk about that monologue.
Right.
The inner monologue.
They'll literally have this inner monologue of Muhammad Ali like randomly spliced throughout the film.
The only time it was weird though was this part.
I thought it was weird when he was in the ring and he's like, get up,
because he never did it.
You don't do it. Like, either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
don't do it at random moments.
But that was the only random one because
what I'm saying, he should have did it in every.
What
fight
I'm saying is like every fight didn't have him
every
talking
fight
in
he
his inner monologue.
Wait, in every fight though?
Or like they did it in one fight.
Well,
it was so random.
Or one scene. Like, why are they doing it?
I like that it was in the one. I liked the one where he goes work legs and then he's immediately knocked out, like that, knocked down, like that was cool.
I did just I was like, what?
I was like, why are we doing this?
This isn't a device that you've established. It was
out of nowhere.
We're literally halfway through the film, and now you're gonna have him start like inner monologuing, but then only for like literally snippets of a time. Like he wasn't doing it throughout the whole fight.
Right. I mean, that's true.
Like, and you saw it in the first fight too. Like one thing, he's like, I can't see. He says I can't see, and then he like goes back and he's like, I can't see. Or was it?
I don't know. I think that was
tell what's what.
Wait, no.
I don't know what's what.
I don't even remember that part. Wait, does he say it in his? Does he say it in his head first?
I don't know. Either he said it in his head or said it out loud. But he says I can't. He says I can't see it before he sits down.
Before he sits down,
he says it again when he sits down. He's like, I can't see. And then, by the way, we're never told why he says that or what's it. I read somewhere.
Sonny cheated, right? Did we
read somewhere that it was
Sonny
like
cheated?
apparent, like it was like a rumor that Sonny Liston cheated.
Well, so that's I didn't know that.
I know. How would you know? They don't explain it.
He didn't even say I had pepper in my eye. I
thought he just got sweat. I literally, when I was watching the movie, I thought he got sweat in his eye, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sometimes I get sweat in my eye and I can't see."
Right.
But no, they
That's
were trying
what I thought
to say
it was
that
too.
Sonny, no, they said Sonny cheated.
It was like a But again, you wouldn't know that unless you knew the story.
Exactly.
Right.
Which they didn't even.
Which they assume that you do. So, all right. Well, let's just jump because it goes to Muhammad Ali. Yeah, he says like
he doesn't say anything though, does he?
You shouldn't have. And
You shouldn't have crossed
Why?
Muhammad. And
Why does he say that?
Right.
What did he? What happened? Like my thing is, why is Malcolm X in the movie? Malcolm X is like,
Wait.
But
Now the
Muhammad-
question is, why is Malcolm X in the movie?
No, because
It's true, though. I'm with you.
You're building this friendship, but I'm like,
You didn't build the friendship, though.
Yeah.
It's like the friendship is now literally the friendship is over.
No,
this is
Malcolm
the
X
last
is in the
time
movie. Wait, Malcolm X is in the movie because, like, Malcolm X is in the movie because, like,
you can't even be serious.
No, it's hard, but Malcolm X is in the movie because, like, isn't he who introduced the Nation of Islam to?
Yes,
but they don't see that in the movie.
but they don't.
They don't say that, but then you
know
kind of.
that.
It's like
I
slightly
only know
implied.
it, but I only know it from the movie. I only know it from the guess that I made from watching the movie.
Right.
So you could be wrong, brother.
I could be.
It's true. But that's what I think.
100%.
A lot of this movie is like slight implications that you really have to work but then eventually your brain starts getting tired of working so much because you're like, you're
Right.
not giving me enough. And also, none of this is paying off. You're like cutting time, but not to say, it's not like they're not taking the time that they saved by like doing all these intercuts in the beginning of the movie, which I was like, oh man, they're really like getting into his life really quickly. Maybe that's so that they can explore this other part of his life. But no,
Right.
they don't. It's like nothing is given enough time. And so therefore, you're not invested in literally any character, almost including Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Dude, woo, okay, let's go. This is my thing about this movie, bro. This is my thing. Again, you took a man who was known to like, and they did this like once or twice, to like walk down the street and be welcomed, to talk to everybody.
Yes.
He was
Right.
beloved.
Which they'll show
Every now and then.
That's what I say. The movie shows
now and then.
the movie
Yeah.
shows everything and yet explores nothing.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, and that's
yes.
the problem, right? Like, they could have picked one thing. They could have picked one fight. They could have picked,
Or like
Yes.
one main
This-
relationship.
yes.
It's like put it in the backdrop of like his relationship with his father. Put it in the backdrop of his relationship with the Nation of Islam. Put it in the backdrop of his relationship with the different women that were in his life.
Yeah.
They don't do any of that. They do all of it and yet none of it.
Right.
I mean,
They
'cause-
touch
yeah.
on all of it in like brief scenes.
They also picked a very. I mean, like, I can imagine that those 10. I mean, obviously, a lot happens to any person in 10 years, but it's like in those 10 years, he was the heavyweight champion twice, right? He got married twice. He was kicked out of boxing. Yeah. He dodged the draft. He did like all of those things happen in the span of that time.
He got
and then
kicked out of the Nation of
he
Islam.
got kicked out.
Yeah.
Right. He joined and got kicked out of the Nation of Islam in that time. And so like I don't know. You can't do that in 2.5 hours. You just can't do all that.
No, but the thing is, you could do certain things. Like basically, what this movie ended up doing was like making me almost want to wish and write a letter to be like, this is a movie I wish I would have got. Like for instance, like if this movie would have just started, say they just wanted to lead up just to the Rumble in the Jungle, that means you could have touched on why he got kicked out. And the thing about this is the big thing. The thing about Muhammad Ali going to prison, all right, is the thing is like he didn't want to be drafted because of one issue.
Can I read this?
Yeah.
This is the best line ever.
Oh, you gotta.
I ain't draft dodging. I ain't burning no flag. I ain't running to Canada. I'm staying right here. You want to send me to jail? Fine. You go right ahead. I've been in jail for 400 years. I could be there for 4 or 5 more, but I ain't going no 10,000 miles to help murder and kill other poor people. If I want to die, I'll die right here, right now, fighting you. If I want to die, you my enemy, not no Chinese, no Viet Cong, no Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. Want me to go somewhere and fight for you? You won't even stand up for me right here in America for my rights and my religious beliefs. You won't even stand up for my right here at home.
That was beautiful.
It was. Honestly, there's a tear.
When I
You got intense when you started reading it too.
I know because I feel it like and when Will Smith did in the movie, I was like yes, I was like, this is what This is why this movie was made. This is why Muhammad Ali transcends sports. This is why even if he isn't actually, even if you like broke it down statistically and somebody was like, here's the reason why Muhammad Ali actually isn't the greatest boxer of all time, I would say it doesn't matter because he's the greatest boxer, athlete, legend, icon of all time because he did something that like so few people would have the courage to do. Yeah. He literally risked everything his entire career to stand up for what he believed and fought for. And like at a time where like, yeah, there were other people who were opposing the Vietnam War, but like do those people have as much as to lose as him? And like stand on the right, it's like, no, it's not, it's more than just like, I don't want to go kill, Vietnamese people. He's like, I'm also like, why would I go and fight in a war when literally I don't have you keep saying protect my freedom. He's like, what freedom?
Because I think what people have to understand is like at this point in time when he's like not wanting to be drafting or draft dodging as they call it, this is a time where if you notice in the movie, which they didn't address, he doesn't stay in fancy hotels. He's a world champ. He's in motels in this entire movie. Like he's not in the restaurants where the white people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have the same rights legitimately that other people have, even as the world champ. And so, to me, what's so important, which made me dislike this movie so much.
They did like one scene. They had like
what scene was it?
That's what I'm talking. That's the other scene. I was trying to remember the intercutting scenes. Some of the other intercut scenes in the beginning was him as a child. One, he saw his father painting. Like that was the introduction to his father. Was just you see he's like looking in a church. He's like in a church and he's looking up at his father painting a white, blonde hair, white, blue-eyed Jesus, and he's like looking at that. It doesn't say anything. It comes back later on, and then he's also on a bus. He sees the colored section. He's walking to the back, and then on a newspaper it says like. Chicago, or I think it was Chicago. Oh no, Chicago was a newspaper, and he was like, somebody was like lynched, like a kid.
It's the Emmett Till picture.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I missed that.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
Of course you missed it though, because it was intercut.
But then he talks about
it literally was intercut through this music as they introduce his father, Jamie Foxx's character. It shows you as his child. It shows you him training. It shows like a club. It's like the movie like. Does all of this stuff, and then you're like, oh, maybe they'll expound upon all of this. But no, they only touch on all of those things a little bit.
Because let me tell you what the thing is, why I brought up the writers. Because, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, their skin color was very important. Being equal, literally, if you listen to Malcolm X teaching, he only wanted equality and to be safe. Like, he literally never said go out and, like, try to attack anybody. He's like, but don't let someone try to kill or rape your family members. Like, that was it. Muhammad Ali's big thing was literally, I want to be respected here before I can trust to go somewhere else. And this movie never showed you why he was so passionate about this thing. And to me, to not do that means you don't understand who this man was.
Yeah. I think that that's true. I think that is 100% true. Now, what I will say is a way that the movie did make me feel connected to that. Again, I think that what you just said is true, which is why I'm about to say this.
Just to clarify too, like there was a black writer who initially wrote the screenplay in like 94, 95, I want to say, and then it kept getting passed on like studio to studio. By the time it got to, I forgot what the studio is that made this film, it was completely out of his hands, and 4 white writers, including Michael Mann and the guy he usually writes with, rewrote the whole screenplay.
Well, technically, the black guy has a story by credit.
He has a story by credit, yeah.
So
his story was to make a make a movie about Muhammad Ali. That's what it was. What happened? I did.
He wanted to. I read. Like, he wanted to concentrate. He wanted to concentrate on Muhammad Ali's religion. He wanted to. His main thing was about his relationship.
That's what I wanted to learn about.
So like what we're learning, right, is like this is not the like pivotal or the what's the word that I'm looking for? This is not the main biopic about Ali. Like this is not the be all end all biopic about Ali, right? That's true.
I mean, it isn't, but it is.
But everybody needs to know that like that movie needs to get made because it's not this one.
It's
right?
not perfect. It's not.
But what the weird juxtapositions that this movie did for me was it At least this is what I felt, and I legitimately felt that watching it this time, and I don't know if I felt that when I watched it the first time. That, like, he looked at what was going on in the world and, like, was this is how I saw it, realized that he could make a difference fighting the way that he fought. Like his fight isn't necessary. He's not the person who's making the speeches or who is leading the marches, even though he may have been. I mean, I don't know any of the speeches, right?
Though, you know?
But that his fight is also in the ring, and in the ring, it is making a statement and causing change. It was really powerful for me to see him in Africa, surrounded by all the children, all the people in the, and like looking at all of the and in that I'm like by doing this, he is making a big mark, like he is fighting this fight, and it was because of how it was juxtaposed with these other things. Now, that being said, right, he was the one making the speeches as well. He was the one at the marches as well. But it's like, to see the fights juxtaposed with those things, it's like, it's another thing. You know what I mean? It's on a different point. And again, like I said, that's what those images evoked for me.
Can I tell you what the problem? Like I hear what you're saying, but I feel like that to prove a point about how disconnected, and I'm gonna say this, how disconnected these writers were from Muhammad Ali and this movement he represented. They showed Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination in passing.
Yeah.
As it was nothing. I mean, and the thing is,
I think to me,
this movie, it was super little, because this movie,
it was.
This movie to me is represented by that scene, and what I mean by that is this movie showed me that you don't understand how powerful these moments were for the people you're showing in this movie.
Right.
They had a scene literally. What was the point? To show that his lawyer. What was the point to show that his lawyer...
connect his lawyer to that
scene?
I have no idea.
You showed,
it was so weird.
And it was unnecessary.
It was unnecessary because first of all, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't a character in this film at all.
Right.
Why are you bringing him up? Like, I understand that... I think what they were trying to do was, like, set the... Which was so weird, though, because, like, why are you trying to set the stage and yet... You assume that we knew all this other stuff about Ali's life. Of course we know Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated around this time.
Right.
But we see my thing is about this. That is period in our lifetime.
Right.
Like, that is probably one of the most powerful political leaders of all time. Right.
Yeah.
And he died, and after that, it was never addressed.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like...
No one wept.
And right.
It's just like you had people screaming, and you had... his lawyer there, like, run. But that's it, because we didn't... Did we see Ali react to that? We saw him react to Malcolm X dying.
Yeah, briefly. Did he go to the funeral? It was his boy.
I think he...
Did he go?
Well, we didn't see
why,
if he went.
Why would I not see that?
Yeah.
Like, my thing is, even if they had a falling out, how would that affect him? Why did I see... You showed me a scene of him in a car. Briefly.
Crying.
Yeah.
Briefly.
I mean, that was a long...
I'm saying this. I cry for motherfuckers I don't like that much. You know what I'm saying? This is your boy. This is a person... You took technically his last name at one point.
I think they tried to do that, but to me it wasn't powerful because they didn't develop the relationship he had with Malcolm X at all. They literally had 4 scenes with him.
But
one intercut in the beginning, him at the ringside, and like kind of just like nodding his head and like really not a real scene. Then the scene where he's telling him, "Yo, I got banished." And him being like, it's going to be okay. And then the last scene with him in Africa.
It is, and again, all of your points make so much sense. This is just devil's advocate. Everything I'm saying is devil's advocate. It's the only time we see him cry, right?
Totally.
So even if it is a brief moment where we see him cry, and I think that scene is like a minute long.
It is. It's long.
That is, in their minds, why they put that in there, right? And then I think an image like seeing Martin Luther King being assassinated and seeing Malcolm X assassinated, but then seeing that for the thin storytelling that the movie is doing, that Muhammad Ali is still there to do the footwork that he's doing is like that's part of
I know what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
But
Like,
what I'm saying, I guess what I mean is like to me, it's honestly, and this sounds ridiculous because Michael Mann is an Academy Award nominee director.
I mean, he's
obviously
great,
a great
but this
director,
is in the movie.
but like it feels very amateurish.
Yeah.
Especially on the editing part, to place that in there and then not follow up with at least a scene of like people saying like being like, Muhammad, maybe you should cool down because they're like killing brothers left and right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, man, like, how do you feel about the fact that like our leaders are being assassinated and they're already coming after you with this court case? Like, maybe you should lay low for a while.
He spoke out against
None
America.
of that stuff happened. Like,
America.
we don't see any of it at all. We don't see other people around him too much affected by it. We see like he has brief scenes with his lawyer who's introduced just all of a sudden.
He hops in the backseat of a car.
And then he's all of a sudden not there anymore. Like, that's what all these characters like fade in, fade out.
Also,
He
MLK
ghosts.
was played by LeVar Burton, and he had no lines.
Yeah,
which
no
is
lines. I
like
didn't even
it's
know
like
that.
how do you
He
put
was a-
right? I mean,
but that's
right?
what I'm
You're
saying.
like,
He's
you're
not
like,
a character. Like, don't even show his assassination.
To me, it's disrespectful. Like
Yeah.
straight up. To me, this movie was disrespectful. To me, this movie, watching it as a black dude, was like you didn't understand what you were trying to make. Because the thing is, like, I can't make a movie about women's rights issues without having. I feel like personally, a female writer on staff, or I might have 4. I can't. Who am I fact checking this with?
I feel like I think ultimately for me, this movie, because I think Michael Mann was a huge fan of Muhammad Ali.
That's not enough.
Yeah, I agree. So that's what I'm saying. I think this movie was made by like white producers, writers, director who were in awe of Ali, but could not actually empathize with the real issues that they kind of try to tackle. Mm-hmm. The main issue being the fact that this was a black sports legend, living legend, who no longer living, but he was a living legend right at the time that they made it, who not only exceeded expectations in the ring, but also literally fought the U.S. government and won, and set a standard that black people do not have to apologize or bow down to anyone. And they kind of were just like in awe of that, but they couldn't. It
And
wasn't
that's a
here.
shame.
It wasn't in the heart.
right?
It was no
Like-
heart.
And to make an Ali movie without heart,
But that's
is
the thing-
like
but
you can't do it.
here's the thing, too,
I
right?
think Will Smith had heart though. I
Here-
keep on saying that because he put. I
Here's
could
the thing, too.
see the work.
actors tried.
We can't
put
even
so
say
much work into
we
it.
can't even say that the filmmakers didn't have heart, but what
I
they didn't have the same heart because
Yes.
but
That's
right
true. That's true.
like because the movie itself is handled with great care. Like you can tell that they were like, this is going to look like this, and then we're going to do this, and then people are going to feel this, right? But it's exactly what you've both been saying this whole time of like they on a fundamental level didn't get it, right? There was just something about it that
They were removed
could
from
not
it.
get
Yes,
it
and the
because they
film
were
felt
removed from
removed.
it.
The film felt removed.
I mean, the thing
it was
is-
like
yeah.
looking at like Ali from a distance and being like, remember when he did that?
Yeah.
And remember when he did this? And can you believe he did that? And can you believe he did this? And can you believe he did that?
I mean,
and then
it's-
at the
it's
end, you're
crazy.
like, that's not a story though. You didn't tell me a story.
They didn't
Yeah.
even think to like, and this is one of the things I read this article about, like, I think it came out in like Vulture or somewhere recently about like people of color and like Oscar nominations, right? And this movie and a lot of the biopics, and this is nothing to the biopic, but like a lot of the famous black men always like either cheated or had multiple wives, right? But the thing these movies always forget.
I mean, most
no.
famous people,
That's what I'm saying,
men
no.
in history. Yeah.
But the thing that I want to bring up about this movie in particular is that when it came to those particular relationships, like Muhammad never cheated, right? Like he didn't cheat. He divorced, his wives before moving on to the next one. But the thing is, these relationships,
he might have emotionally cheated though.
yeah.
Which they touch on in the movie.
Yeah, but my saying is, like, for instance, Jada, the first wife, Jada Pinkett, who played the first wife,
And their
she
scenes
is-
were great, by
she
the
was,
way.
but she was the floozy. Like, you can break them down into stereotypes automatically. She was the over sexualized, like
She was
matter of fact,
outspoken.
she was outspoken, loud, and then the reason he was upset with her, the dress, right?
Yeah.
The dress. His second wife, right? His second wife was the one who had most of his kids, the nagging one, who was the one saying, protect. She literally says at one point, they only show up when they want something, and they never come around again.
She calls it. She's like, look, once you win this, they're going to come. Don't.
Protect yourself. That's what she literally is like doing the thing
And
that
she's
she wants her wife
Muslim,
to do.
too.
And she's Muslim. And don't really address her. All she does when she shows up, kind of, in this realm, her helping and looking out for him comes off as nagging.
Yeah.
The next wife we meet, the pretty light-skinned one, what does she do?
She's a trophy wife.
What does she do? And the thing is, in real life, these women had personalities. These women all meant something at a different facet from Muhammad
And
Ali.
the actors put personality into them.
Yeah, it wasn't them. It was like they just didn't have, like, there was nothing built up. Like for Muhammad Ali to get rid of his first wife, I feel like we would have to have seen scenes of her doing, like, she talks about how the Nation of Islam treated her. We never saw it.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, they want me to do this. They always talk to me like this. They always ask me these questions. They always treat me this way. We never saw it. All we saw was her wear an outfit once to a fight.
And we don't see him being upset about that like she says that, and then at first you think, oh, he's taking her to another room to like argue with her, and then they just make out again. And you're like, oh, so I guess he's
okay with it.
Because he says like he's like one of the reasons that he fell in love with her, that you kind of gather from the movie, is that because she was outspoken. And then she wears the dress, and he's like, why did you wear that dress? And then she's like, really? Like, this is the thing you're going to talk about right now? And then literally that's it. And then like the next scene is him like walking in and being like, all right, what do I have to do? And then
divorce her.
Yeah, he doesn't say to divorce her. He just says, what do I have to do? And he's like, don't speak to her for 90 days, blah, blah. Then Nation of Islam says it's okay. And Jamie Foxx is like, damn, like that's all you guys got to do to like let go of some women. He has a brief scene with his father where they fight about it, and then that's it. And it's done. You never see her again.
I mean, and the thing is, you never see a second wife. He's in Africa.
You never
comes back.
You never see how them getting together. At all.
He just has the first scene with them meeting.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're married. And then you see the scene where they're getting married.
Yeah, but then you see him leave. Like when she leaves, she's like, "I'll come back before the fight." She never comes back because literally that scene of what is it? Don King trying to get him to like get George Foreman to stay. He sees his third wife and it's like, oh, now we get to like.
Well, then you do see she comes back and then he's like, I had to hear about this, and he's like, sorry, basically, and then it's like they didn't actually divorce in the movie because she's at the fight. And so is his third.
Oh, that's right.
His soon-to-be third wife is there, and his second wife, who's still married to him, is there. And they're both watching the fight, and they're both like crying. The fight ends, and then it literally like the caption pops up, and he's like, he divorced her, married that woman, and then he divorced her and married this woman.
Yeah,
which was also like, why are you even telling me that?
Right.
I mean, it was a rough. I mean, this movie was rough. It was like, what was I watching? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like it had, man, yeah, I definitely think they meant well, but the problem with this is like a problem I feel like with a lot of things in life. It's like, I don't care if you mean well. I honestly don't. It's like, to me, the well-meaning white dude is great, but that's usually where a lot of problems happen. It's like, just take a second, listen, and ask a question or two. Like, just chill. Just chill. It's like, I will help you make something better. If you just ask, is this okay? Like, if you'd have showed the script to somebody, they would have told you, hey, man, you literally killed Martin Luther King randomly. You had
montage style.
Yeah, and the thing is, you killed Malcolm X, which is one of the most, I hate to say it, one of the most known deaths because of how it went down. Like, I mean, this dude literally got shot with a shotgun in close range, and then the person who shot him with that shotgun ran on the stage and shot him again in close range as two other people shot him in the chest. It's like, that was brushed over, and it was said in a freaking radio.
No, that wasn't brushed over.
No, but they said it in a radio report. Like, Malcolm heard it in the car.
I mean, maybe that's how it actually happened.
They focused on that. I felt like they focused on that.
They focused on that scene, but I think the reason that it felt so it felt disrespectful to Jerah, I think, is because the relationship was not built up to that point.
Yeah,
and I actually think if you look back at it, Malcolm X's death scene was probably the longest scene he had in the movie, which makes no sense because why would that be the long? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
You saw his walkout.
why
you
would his
saw him
death
talk.
scene be the longest scene that you had in the movie? It's like a scene that we all know and already kind of most of us have seen and understand because there's already been a movie made about Malcolm X that was very popular that came out years before. Like and like that they chose to replay that scene in slow motion, the whole thing, and then you see him in the car and then it's done. Anyway, so
Yeah, man. I mean, this movie, man.
So anyway, the scene the movie ends with him fighting George Foreman,
Who they made basically an idiot. George Foreman is one of the smartest, one of the most successful people in the world. In this movie, did he even say anything besides, was he Frankenstein? Is it like, this is George Foreman. You probably have his grill at your house right now. George Foreman had a TV show with kids. All of his kids. And this movie made him like he was a big oath. Like, did he talk? Did he say hello?
Yeah, no. I think they wanted to up the intimidation factor of him.
So they made him Drago.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they made a real person.
You made one of the most famous champs in the world, Drago. Literally, when you saw him, he was doing the Drago punches, slow motion.
Yeah.
Well, that was effective in making it feel like, oh wow, Foreman's going to be a really hard opponent.
I'm not saying make him like a funny man, but I'm just saying like you literally made him into this gigantic. He was Frankenstein, bro. Like he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
He groaned. He wasn't a human. He was a villain that was in this movie just for something for Muhammad Ali to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, they did that with all of his opponents, which I thought was
At least they gave oh my goodness, Sonny Liston like a part in the car when he's like, "Hey man,
that's Joe.
everything I've got."
Frazier.
Joe Frazier, like everything I've got was with these hands. You know what I'm saying? At least he had that moment.
He had one scene.
I mean, yeah.
No, but
It was a good scene. Wait, I'm not saying it wasn't a good scene. It was a good scene, but he had one scene.
No, I mean, which is crazy because that fight is called The Fight.
Which was crazy. The real thing the crazy thing about all of this is that at the end of the day, I still feel like Ali didn't get enough time. Like I feel like we didn't. I honestly do. I was like, Ali didn't get enough scenes. Like we didn't see him enough. Like because anytime when he was with Howard Cosell and he was like making fun of him and stuff, I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, yeah, like this is who Ali is. And I'm cool with you guys doing his dark, moody side like at home, but like I don't know, like the contract, like the
show me what made him.
The way that the film
loved
was
everybody.
stitched together just was so. Just felt so disconnected to me. It felt so discombobulated. Anyway,
like you didn't love that man. That's
I don't
what it
know.
felt like.
All right, is it time for the swirl?
I mean, listen, man. You know what? I actually had a good swirl for this movie, but as I started talking to you guys, I don't want to do a swirl.
Wait, what?
I mean, let me hear me out. I feel like this movie doesn't deserve one because it's trash. Sorry, and I never call a movie trash, but like the more I sat here at this podcast, it's like, oh, this made me mad. So can I do just something where it's like I wish would have been?
The acting's really good.
I just want to. Can I just say what I wish? Like maybe give him a pitch. Can I do a movie pitch for
All
like
right,
Ali?
yeah, do a movie pitch.
I wish. Okay, here we go. Here we go to Ali movie pitch. All right, we're a week away from the Rumble in the Jungle.
Wow, starting all the way there.
Yeah, this is why. We started a week away from the Rumble in the Jungle. We have flashbacks to see like how he got to this point of like needing this money, to being desperate, to see him like talk to like Don King, who like his wife doesn't trust. And it's like, oh man, I don't want to do this, but I gotta do this. We see the flashbacks of the draft and like how the draft affected him. And then we see like why he did it, where it's like, oh, him and maybe his wife try to go into a store and they won't let him in. But we just see like we get a reason why he doesn't want to be drafted. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We get why he has a falling out with the Nation of Islam, because he says literally a line in the real movie, oh, because I called you guys out because I was broke. That's why. I'm pretty sure it was more than that. But let's keep moving forward. All right. So we're getting ready for the Rumble in the Jungle. He gets to Africa. All right. He's being interviewed. He's telling his story. It's almost like, all right, it's almost like Ali has a personality.
What?
You know? It's almost like he's an ideal person. We get to the Rumble in the Jungle. We see him have these conversations like teasing George Foreman. Then he realizes George Foreman is a good dude, but he needs this fight. And he tells George, he's like, George, I got to do this. I got to wash it, George. I got to wash it. I got to win this fight because I got to win it for me.
Are you saying that George Foreman threw the fight?
No, I'm not saying he threw it.
Oh, so why would he talk to George Foreman and tell him that he needs this fight?
I mean, because he talked to.
He's supposed to keep George Foreman in it.
No, I'm saying, but he spoke to Joe Frazier.
Yeah, but that's because
he can't talk to Joe Frazier.
No, because Joe Frazier said, "Why should I give you a chance? I have the belt."
Well, I'm saying, man, they could be cordial, man. Whatever, man. Build a relationship. My point is this: focus on one event instead of doing 10 that you won't touch on, man. It's like this movie doesn't
10 years
deserve a
is too
swirl.
long. 10 years
it's
is too long.
I
It's too
think they could have
long.
done 10 years and just
But it
cut a
is
lot
still
of.
too long.
I mean, they
too long,
could've,
right?
They
I
could have
just
done 10
don't-
years and not focus on certain things. Like,
10 years is too long.
I mean, I don't even know what they
Right?
could have done because it was just
no, I
trash.
think you could do 10 years.
I mean,
I
it
think
was
you
just
could do a
trash,
span of 10 years and not do all of the different things that happen within those 10 years.
Yeah, but then people say like, oh, you didn't tell the story. You didn't tell the whole story.
They still didn't tell the whole story. They missed out major fights.
But that's what I mean.
They didn't even touch the Olympics. All right, wait. Well, what you got? What's your?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all, just so y'all know, I'm
What's
rushing
your-
like a madman right now. Are we going to do it?
Yeah. What's your thing? You
I'm
do
going
it.
to get this movie. I'm sorry to rush ahead.
And just do it real quick.
All right, we're doing the cause real quick, judging the movie based on how it helps leading black actors in Hollywood, either a black fist, a white palm, or nothing. Can't be how much we like this movie. Doesn't matter if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Does it help the cause of more leading black actors in Hollywood? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. God damn it.
What you do? Oh, it got 3 black fists.
3 black fists.
I'm going to just say, I gave it a fist because Will Smith got a nomination. This also helped Jamie Foxx because before this, Jamie Foxx was doing like, what was that movie about the prawns? Remember
Bait? The movie that I bring up all the time.
Yeah, he was doing like Bait. And Jamie Foxx has a famous story about like how he got this role and like what Will Smith did for him and like how he said, you got to lock this up because you have a chance. Like, he was like, you have a shot. And like, he did after this movie.
Plus he did Collateral from
he
it.
did. It helped him out, and I feel like this movie did do that. It got all of these. It got Gus. It got all these black actors in this movie.
Okay.
He would always
Jada
be Gus.
Pinkett Smith.
Also, we forgot
Gus.
to mention his photographer,
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, who's one of the
yeah.
greatest actors
Oh
of
my
all time.
God,
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
was in
Wright
this
is
movie.
so
He
great
killed
in this
it.
movie,
He
even
killed
though his character is literally
You're
not
like,
explored
who
at
even
all.
who even is that guy?
Never talks about it at all.
Who
He's just
is he?
there the entire time.
But it's like this movie had a lot of actors doing a lot of great work. Like the movie itself shouldn't be faulted because Michael Mann, you're great, but like this may not have been the movie for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be truthfully honest, like your style, like that
No, it
whole
clearly
raw
wasn't.
camera style, just wasn't. It should have been bright. It should have
The
been
performances
vibrant.
that the cast were putting in this movie should have been nominated for so many more awards, but
you
it
couldn't
wasn't.
because it was like whatever. So that's the reason. But like, I didn't like this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to piggyback off of that. I gave it a fist for the same reason. So many great black actors in this. Michael T. Williamson playing Don King. I thought he killed.
Yeah, he did do a really good job as Don King, even though, again, Don King was just thrown. Actually, no, that was fine. Don King's introduction was fine. Because he was just all of a sudden there, but then like you kind of knew exactly who he was. You didn't need any more time with Don King.
Yeah. So I mean, and like we've already talked about everybody else. That's the main reason. Like getting to see those black faces on screen. The fact, but I mean, I almost gave it a palm though, because like the biggest issue that we have with this movie is the fact that like the movie is told through a different lens. You know, it's not told through the lens of people who could have been affected in the same way, you know. And again, like Jerah said at the top, you know, I love white people. We have white friends, right?
I'm white. Half white.
JB is half white. But yeah, that's
Yeah, here's the thing. Our podcast currently is about more leading black actors in Hollywood, not more leading directors in Hollywood, though Lord knows we need that too. There's like 7 movies of those, so. But like, if this was about the cause of directors,
and
forget
writers
it. And writers and like get out of here. But as for actors, the actors did such a phenomenal job in this movie. I think, despite the I guess we have to give some credit to the scenes that they did let the actors like, and like the casting process. Like, big shout out to the casting director.
Yeah.
And I guess Michael Mann like did pull great performances, you know what I mean? So we have to give him some credit for that. But like the way the movie was edited and the way the movie was crafted visually, I felt like it was taking away. Like they were just trying to do too much. And they almost made the film actually I was reading Roger Ebert's review and he said like the film felt like a memoriam.
yeah.
And it actually almost felt it almost felt like, you know what I mean, more relevant now.
Yeah, yeah.
It would feel more relevant after Ali's death, but like Ali was alive during this time.
Yeah.
And like he was there on set, like, you know what I mean? Like it just felt weird. Like it wasn't a celebration. That's what, Ebert said. He was like, it's not a celebration. It was almost like a remembrance. And it took a lot of life out of it. And I wish they'd like, if they were going to jump cut through all this stuff, I wish they were like, well, let's put all of our focus on one thing. And I think they did that with the Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah.
But to me, the Rumble in the Jungle, they didn't set up everything in the first, two-thirds of the movie, like the first 2 acts of the movie, to make that final act feel like a payoff. Because at the end of the movie, it's like Ali has to win this fight to basically just prove to the world. It kind of reduced it back down to just boxing without making the boxing a microcosm of everything else.
Right.
Like, you could intellectually say it was, but the feel and the heart of the movie didn't make it that, because he was losing his marriage and him winning didn't save his marriage. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He was losing respect in the nation of it. Like, he had a weird history, and like they didn't really touch on that at all. Like the fight didn't help that or hurt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other thing was like his solidifying himself as like a black figure. Like, but like it didn't really, even other than the fact that they just had everybody else chanting Ali, but they didn't really explain why the Africans the children loved Ali and not Foreman. It was like, they're both black, so what is it about Ali? Now, we know what it is because he was like taking his stand and stuff, but the movie didn't focus on that.
Right.
Other than maybe like one picture that they had drawn on the side with him like with boxing gloves and a tank.
But it still feels like almost miraculous. Like, it doesn't feel like it's coming out of anything. It feels like it's like, oh, wow, these African children have they've
even
drawn
the
a picture
scene,
on
even
them.
that scene that they have him like running with and that's a long scene.
Yeah, I mean, again,
and I remember
that
being
scene was
like,
powerful
what is
to
this?
me. But
I was like, the scene is a powerful scene, but I remember thinking like, this scene is like in a vacuum, because it's not like, I think about Creed. How can you not, right? I think about when Creed's running, and mirroring Rocky, obviously, but like with all of the dudes on the bikes and stuff like that, even though we don't know who those dudes are, for some reason that felt way more powerful to me than this scene in Ali, even though the Ali scene should feel more powerful. Like,
right, because it's a real thing that happened.
A real thing that happened, and like think about like literal African children with like a real their hero there. Anyway, so but that being all that said, I said all of that in my explanation of giving it a black fist, because the actors are great in it. I mean, anybody who watches the movie could be like, these actors are great, and a lot of black actors got to be in roles, Van Peebles doesn't get to do much anymore. That dude is amazing. He directed and starred in a bunch of films that he made, and like New Jack City and Posse, and like, but he's not seen as much, so it was great to have him in this, and he's kind of lost. Anyway.
Yeah.
So 3 black fists, no swirl.
Yeah.
There shouldn't have been a swirl.
I mean, it would have been weird. It wouldn't have made sense.
I wonder who would have got. No, I got it.
Houdini?
Play that music, Nick.
Okay.
Here's a swirl. That's right. A post-cause swirl. No Jerah. Hey, brother Herbert, man. What you know about being in that bar? How you know she's a floozy? How did you know that?
Oh, no.
And he goes, and he laughs, and then we see
a flashback. A flashback of Herbert. No.
Herbert's in this strip club. You see Jada doing her thing over there. She comes up to him. Hey, brother, would you like to spend a little time with me? And he's like, no, thank you. And then he goes and eyes a white woman. She comes over. She's like, hello.
I don't like this.
My name is Chandelier.
Brother Herbert, no, wait.
My name is Chandelier. He said, what's your last name?
Against the Nation of Islam.
Damn right it's against the Nation of Islam. She says, and Chandelier says, isn't this against the Nation of Islam? And Herbert says, you're damn right.
Oh, no. And then,
I'm talking about Herbert.
And then he gets kicked out. I'm talking about Herbert. Then he gets kicked out.
And then she starts grinding up on him.
Herbert gets kicked out immediately.
And she starts kissing him.
Oh,
and then somebody comes in and he's like, Brother Herbert. And he's like, get off me, you white devil. And then he slips her a 20 as he goes out the back.
Why does he give her a 20? Oh, okay, because
20 is a lot of money back then, dude. That's a lot of money back then.
No, that's a lot.
Herbert, man. He's an evil dude.
Wow, you just defiled a real person. You just made a real person that exists go completely against their religion for the comedy bit. Well, before we get out of here, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so the specifics of it are lost to me. But The Great White Hype, that's a good movie, right? The Great White Hype, it's good, right? Like, it wasn't bad, right? It was like a good movie.
No, it was bad. It was really bad.
But my question is like, it's like good, right? Like people review.
But it doesn't matter because that's Samuel Jackson, right?
Yeah.
He's been in so many terrible movies that it's like just another blip. The Great White Hype.
I used to watch that on HBO like all the time.
All right. Let's just go right into plugs too, by the way, I think, because we're doing new plugs.
Oh, yeah.
Next, or no, at Black Man Podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like us, subscribe on iTunes, rate us 5 stars and all that jazz. Astronomy Club, or not Astronomy Club, we, Black Men Can't Jump, are going to be in the Del Close Marathon, June 25th, which is a Saturday, 2 p.m. You have to buy wristbands, but you can also see us in other shows. Astronomy Club, the All Black Improv team is going to do a show. Yeah. James has other shows.
I have a couple shows.
So please, Del Close Marathon, you can buy wristbands probably at the, I don't know. I think you can buy them at the place.
Yeah, I think you buy them at the theaters and stuff. But you can go to delclosemarathon.com
for more info.
For the info. For that.
JohnBraylock.com, at John Braylock on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Follow me. Yep. And then that's it for me.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
Hurry up.
You can go to james3rdcomedy.com, at James3rdcomedy on Twitter and Instagram. Third is 3RD.
Why is he doing this?
And also, I have a solo show in the Dead Parents Club Festival. If I can schedule a tech rehearsal, you can go to jamesthirdcomedy.com/shows. You can find me. It's the show is on the 19th at 7:30 p.m. It is in Brooklyn, New York. Check it out.
Great. And next week, Jerah Milligan at Jerah M, I believe, on Snapchat or Twitter or something.
Wait, hold on. I have it written down.
It's like Jerah Milligan.
I have it's Jerah.
It's like at Jerah Milligan.
It's like Jerah, like what
I think like 2 of them are like at Jerah Milligan, and then his Snapchat is at Jerah M.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so
that's right.
He's definitely at Jerah Milligan on Twitter. That's what I have written down.
Great. And then now next week we are reviewing the film Kazam. We were supposed to do that this week, but we bumped it back because Ali, y'all. I mean, come on. So Kazam, the live episode. Hopefully the NBA Finals are still going, even though the NBA Finals could be over tonight. Who knows? That's how good the Warriors are. All right. We'll see you next week. Peace.
That was a HeadGum podcast.